there's something sacred about the last few minutes before you sleep, when the lights are off, when the world goes quiet, when it's just you, your thoughts. What if even, just for a moment, you let go of that inner pressure and whispered to God with honesty, without effort, without performance? He's not waiting for you to be strong. He's just waiting for you to speak, gently, quietly, truthfully. Because the whisper you offer tonight might be the beginning of something holy, something healing, something that shifts not just your emotion, but everything around you. Whisper something like, "God, I need you," and you will feel Him shift the weight inside your chest. That's not your imagination. That's the supernatural love of a Father responding quicker than breath, because He sent this moment. He stirred this prayer, just for you, just for tonight. And the weight of everything you carried today. Maybe you smiled in front of others, but deep down, you're tired. Let this be the night that instead of explaining, you exhale. Because when your soul shows up like that trio, worn, soft, open, God doesn't criticize you. He covers you. He comforts you. And that's where everything begins to change. That's where peace enters. That's where your night becomes holy. Instead of running, you rest. Instead of numbing, you notice God noticing you. You're not too late. You're not too broken. You're just tired, and God knows how to heal. Tired, not by force, but by tenderness. Not through noise, but through a whisper. Maybe you spent all day pushing through, wearing your smile like armor, trying to be okay, in the way your heart slows when you finally tell God the truth. It's a holy invitation to let your midnight moments become a meeting place with heaven. It's a call to turn down the volume of shame and turn up the stillness where God speaks loudest. It's not about fixing everything in one night. It's about trusting the one who already knows how to work all things for your good, even when you sleep. In the way your breath softens after you release the tension. In the way your chest doesn't have to fight to feel free. God is not passive in this. He is active. He is present. And when you whisper to Him before sleep, He moves. Not always in the way you expected, but always in the way you needed. But now, in the dark, the pieces you were holding start to slip. And that's okay. You no longer have to carry them. You don't have to figure out tomorrow, tonight. You don't need a plan. You need presence. You need peace. And that comes not in your strength, but in your surrender. Not just tired in your body, but in that place no one sees. The place behind your eyes where your prayers live. The space in your heart where hope waits quietly during the noise of the day. And maybe tonight you feel like there's more noise in your mind than peace in your soul. But instead of letting those thoughts take over, what if tonight, before you sleep, you whispered something different? God listens differently at night, not because He changes, but because you do. You finally slow down. You finally stop pretending. You finally feel all the things you avoided all day. You didn't play this video because you were bored. This isn't random. This is divine. This is the Spirit gently pulling your soul to pause, to pray, to stop rehearsing your worries and start releasing them, to stop performing strength and start whispering surrender. That's the posture that changes things. That's what God responds to, not perfect prayers, but honest ones. Not big declarations, but quiet confessions. That's what moves the heart of the Father. And God meets you there, not to shame you, but to hold you, to see you, to love you through the silence. That's why this moment matters. Because when the world retreats, heaven draws near, and your whisper, Yes, even your small, broken, confused whisper coes loudly in God's heart. You're not here by accident. Whisper something like, "God, I'm here." That alone opens heaven. And maybe nobody else sees how heavy today was for you. What if tonight is the night it all turns? Maybe not visibly, maybe not publicly, but in you. This prayer is not accidental. It's not another video with nice music or calming words. You've spent enough nights overthinking, enough evenings replaying regret, enough endings filled with anxiety. Let tonight be different. So before you close your eyes, whisper. No pressure, no performance, just presence. Whispering to God isn't just prayer, it's a return. It's the slow, sacred movement from trying to trusting, from carrying to releasing, from surviving to breathing again. And maybe that's exactly what your soul is prepared for tonight, the quiet return to peace. The purpose of this moment isn't to impress God with flawless words. It's to meet Him in full honesty when you have almost nothing left to say. He already knows. That's the beauty of it. You're not whispering because you're weak. You're whispering because you're worn. That even in your quietest moment, God is writing unseen miracles into your story. Faith doesn't require volume, it requires posture. The goal of this whisper is to change how you sit inside tonight, to take that room full of crazy thoughts and replace the noise with God's knowing. That sigh you let out after whispering a raw, unrehearsed prayer, that's the goal. That release, that breath, that moment where you stop being your protector and remember you were never alone. And that worn-out place, believe it or not, is holy ground. That's where transformation begins. The way a wound starts to heal after it's finally acknowledged. That's the work God does through whispers. And you, yes, you are invited to experience it tonight. Or maybe, I don't have words, Lord. I'm just offering you what's left. It's here to transition your weary steps into resting trust. It's for the places that couldn't get solved, the worries that didn't get answered, and the feelings you didn't get to say. Whisper them instead. Whisper them now. Whisper them slowly. Let your soul turn its face back toward the one who's been waiting to carry what you could untain. And that offering, that's where power lives. That's why you whisper before sleep. Because something in you knows you weren't made to sink into another night alone. Not every whisper moves the world, but every whisper moves God's heart. That's the reassurance you've been looking for. The stillness that fights the storm, not by pushing harder, but by trusting deeper. That's why tonight you whisper. That's why this is for you. It's to make you aware that heaven is already close. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is permission. Your whisper gives God space to comfort you, to be more than your routine, to be your rest. That God didn't wait for you to get it together before He started caring. He didn't need you to be more spiritual, more faithful, or more articulate. He needed you just as you are now to show up. Whispering thin faith or slow surrender, that's enough. Why? Because presence is more powerful than performance. And the whisper proves you're present. You're still here, still reaching. That's where things start shifting, not around you, but inside of you. Because when you whisper to God with no script and no show, He responds with real comfort. Not the kind that adds pressure, the kind that lifts it. The goal of this prayer isn't to impress heaven. That's the goal. To whisper instead of worry. To lean into weakness instead of hiding it. When you whisper to God, you're shifting the weight from your chest onto His shoulders. Whispering flips the script. Instead of holding it all in, you hold it out before him, slowly, willingly, desperately, and that's what cracks open peace. Peace doesn't arrive after the chaos is gone. It begins when the soul stops pretending to be okay. Your whisper opens that door, gently, powerfully, not because you're supposed to, but because you're invited to. No one's forcing you to whisper, but you were born to belong. You were designed for presence. And silence with God isn't emptiness, it's connection. You've spent nights trying to fix what only He knows how to handle. And what if your whisper is not about begging Him to move, but about admitting that you know He already is? It's the kind of whisper that says, I tried, God, and I'm tired, but I still believe you can carry me. This isn't just about ending your deities, about inviting God into the part of your heart that hides behind the day you lived. And the rest is holy. Not the kind that closes your physical eyes, but the kind that lets your spirit loosen its grip. So yes, whisper, but more than that, feel what God does with it. This prayer isn't here to fix your day. It's here to end it in stillness. And when you do, something will change. Not thunderously, not with volume, but intimately. The way you feel after an honest conversation. There comes a moment so still, so quiet to almost miss it. But your soul doesn't. It feels it. That gentle shift, that whisper reaching heaven, that soft surrender, finally unclenching your spirit from the weight it's been holding all day. It's about letting God hold you without needing to fix you first. It's about sacred stillness, the kind that doesn't need big emotions to feel holy. The type that is pure, gentle, like calm water over weary bones, like warm light after a long night. This is that moment. The room looks the same. The reminder that our value was never in how much we could carry it, was always in how deeply we are held. God does not just support you, you are surrounded by it, shielded, sought after, and tonight, you are safe. The fact that you're here, whispering in faith whatever little you could say, is proof that your heart still wants God, and that is all He's asking for. A heart willing to be held. The worries hadn't disappeared. You sleep differently when you've whispered everything to God. You wake lighter when you know you weren't alone in the night. There is a God who is not sleeping tonights, so you finally can. He's watching over your room, your breath, your thoughts, and your dreams. The world may expect you to keep performing, but this place, this moment, this whisper, you walk more softly when your soul knows God is already going ahead of you. That's the miracle. This peace, this presence, this promise. But something deeper happens, something weightless. The word says He collects them. He gathers your pain like pearls. He doesn't rush your process. He doesn't silence your ache. He stays even when you're silent, especially when you're quiet. Your spirit has found safe space again, and whisper again tomorrow and the next day. Because it's not the size of the prayer that moves mountains, it's the faith in the whisper. Because your silence still speaks to Him, and your whisper, that's worship, that's trust, that's love. And oh, how He responds to love like that, inside you, around you, in the unseen. And tonight, your honesty created space for His love to enter you again. Breathe into that. Let that be your final thought before you sleep. Not the regrets, not the fears, but this. Asterisk, He heard me, and He's already working. Asterisk, peace didn't crash in. You need stillness. That's where He speaks. That's where your spirit listens. And right now, your whisper is still in the atmosphere. still echoing in the heavenly places and still working within you long after you press pause. It entered like breath, slowly, thoroughly, softly, filling every space fear had been living in. And now it lives here. Peace, His peace, secure, quiet, unshakable. Not because the world changed, but because you let God enter your night instead of your worry. You don't need to say anything else. What you've whispered, and that was enough. Heaven heard. Angels leaned in. The same God who created constellations paused to listen. Not because your words were powerful, but because your heart was present. He was never after performance. He was always after proximity. And now that you've whispered, it's no longer about reaching for answers. It's about recognizing nearness. You might think nothing changed. This is what happens when we whisper. Not because God needs the words, but because we need the release, the alignment. For all the moments today that made your chest tighten, for all the thoughts that spun like storms in your mind, for everything you didn't talk about, didn't cry about, didn't know how to pray about, God heard your whisper anyway. And that sound, heaven holds it like a treasure. You're not asking for too much. You're not too emotional, too tired, too late. Sometimes the miracle is not in the moment. It's in the change that unfolds quietly afterward. Even if tears spilled from your eyes tonight, they weren't wasted. Let yourself rest now, not because you're done worrying, but because you don't have to worry anymore. This is yours, and He is here. God is not impressed by volume, but He is moved by honesty. You don't need fireworks to know peace came. You don't need goosebumps to know He's close. So sleep, beloved, sleep tenderly. Sleep knowing your soul has been seen, your voice has been heard, a breath of peace, or just a sense that you're not walking alone. Then I invite you, gently, to respond. Not for me, not to be seen. Or maybe just, you never know who's scrolling right now, needing to see proof that someone else out there is feeling what they feel too. A soft corner of the internet where noise fades and mercy rises, because heaven responds to humility, not volume, and your whisper will echo in places you can't even see yet. And thank you for letting God meet you even deeper. Send it to the friend who always smiles, but rarely opens up. Share it with the quiet soul who's been shouldering too much alone. You've whispered. That was enough. God heard, God saw, and God is already moving. Forward it to that one person who says they refine, but often posts those silent cries on their stories. I needed this tonight. Your comment could be the spark that ignites calm in someone else's storm. If you're feeling led, share this prayer. More reminders that being tired doesn't mean being disqualified. It just means being human. Then I encourage you to subscribe. This channel isn't just for prayers. It's a place for presence, a place for peace. Let these final moments before sleep cradle you not with pressure to fix anything, but with permission to rest. You're held. You're so deeply loved, and you are never, for even a second, forgotten. Whisper again tomorrow night, and every night after. Thank you for meeting me here tonight. Now sleep in peace, because God is watching over you always.